Be careful. A high-profile attorney wants you as their client. The case involved is unbelievable and could bring my beloved child. Listen deeply, for it is in this moment that may appear quiet and still. Heaven has never sent paperwork, but it does send purpose, and today, your name echoed in a room so secret, even the clock stopped ticking when it was spoken. A case was not merely opened, it was uncovered, long before you knew that someone had been watching, long before you knew your life was quietly intersecting with something historic. Not ordinary history, divine legacy. Somewhere, a high-profile attorney did not stumble upon your name by coincidence. No, my beloved soul, this was orchestrated. This lawyer, chosen not by systems but by spirit, was drawn to your name like a compass is pulled to truth. They've reviewed the documents. Not of man-made courts, but something deeper, older, sacred, sealed scrolls carrying your story. This attorney believes in what they've read. And now? They want you. They're looking for you. And the case that surrounds you is not just legal, it is prophetic. There is a reason your name was whispered in this sacred chamber. You've been hurt, misunderstood, and underestimated, but what you didn't know is that your suffering was witnessed and recorded, every tear placed into evidence. A timeline was built not from courtrooms, but from quiet days when you said, "God, do you see me?" This attorney, this unexpected vessel of justice, heard the divine answer before you did. They are coming not just with a case but with confirmation. You were never forgotten. And now? Everything is aligning to prove it. What they want to discuss with you is something beyond legal, it's ancestral. It's tied to something stolen. Something lost. Something promised. There is land in the spirit that once belonged to your bloodline. There are assets, ideas, inheritances, both material and heavenly, that were once diverted from you by those who never thought you'd find your voice again. But heaven sent someone who speaks on your behalf. Someone who studied every lie spoken against you, someone who saw through the manipulation, someone who understands that this case is not about what you did, but what they did to you. And still, you kept quiet. You chose grace. You chose healing. But heaven saw it all. And so did this attorney. They are not here to threaten. They are here to redeem. And now, your life is being reopened like a sealed document. Not to shame you, but to reward you. Not to remind you of the pain, but to show you that pain was never wasted. The case? Oh, it's not small. It's unbelievably large. And not just because of what's involved, but because of who is involved. People you once trusted. People who used your silence as permission. People who thought if they kept you confused long enough, no one would ever defend you. But today, heaven overruled them. A lawyer with influence, fire, and favor is preparing to sit across from you, not as an accuser, but as an advocate. Because now, you are the client. You are the one heaven is fighting for. And something unimaginable is about to be proven. You were always the rightful owner of what they tried to cover up. There are moments when the universe holds its breath, not out of fear, but in reverence for what's about to be revealed. This is one of those moments. The attorney who was sent for you, whose spirit is anointed and whose hands were trained not just in legal language but in divine justice, is now ready to name names. And beloved, the name at the center of this case is someone you once loved. Someone who smiled at your light but secretly feared it. Someone who took what didn't belong to them, not just objects, but access. They accessed spaces in your life they were never called to enter. And now? The courtroom of heaven is preparing to reveal them not in anger, but in truth. This case involves betrayal wrapped in silence. It involves memories they hoped you forgot. But heaven? Heaven remembers everything. And the reason this attorney sought you out is because they saw what no one else did, that you were robbed in full daylight and made to believe it was your fault. You were gaslit, manipulated, made to carry burdens that didn't belong to you. And through it all, you never exposed them. You chose dignity. You chose healing. But God never forgot what they did. That's why this isn't just a lawsuit, it's a legacy reclamation. The papers that are being drawn now, they don't just hold facts. They carry freedom. They carry the unseen hours you spent alone, wondering if God would ever make it right. They hold proof, supernatural proof, that every delay in your life had a name attached to it. And that name is no longer protected. Because the heavens have shifted. A wind has turned. And now, this attorney is pulling out a file they've kept hidden until the right moment. That moment is now. And it's for you. You will not need to beg for your voice to be heard anymore. You will not need to convince anyone of what happened behind those closed doors. This time, they will speak on your behalf. This time, the tables are turning, and the one who tried to sit in your seat is being called out, not by your bitterness, but by righteousness. This attorney isn't just speaking in a court. They are speaking into your future. They are demanding restoration. And do you want to know what's shocking? What was stolen from you in secret is going to be returned in public. There is a divine reversal taking place. That person who used your vulnerability, who smiled at your downfall, who took what was yours and gave it to someone else, they're about to see you rise. And not just emotionally. Financially. Spiritually. Publicly. The case has now reached a turning point. Heaven has signed off on the motion. Your name is being cleared. And what was once locked behind a door of lies is now being unlocked by divine order. So let the angels gather. Let the witnesses come. Let your ancestors stand in silence and awe as they watch the prophecy unfold. You're not the one on trial anymore. You're the one receiving justice. Not years from now. Not after long delay. Now. And the one who laughed behind your back. They're now being asked to explain why they thought they could play God in your life. And they will have no answer. Because the one defending you is backed by heaven itself. This high-profile attorney didn't just choose you. They were assigned to you. And this case? It's not just going to bring you justice. It's going to bring you into the wealth, the peace, the love, and the honor that was always yours. You don't have to lift a finger. Just be still. And watch heaven fight for you. There is a scroll in the spirit realm, an ancient record not held in human hands, but in the archives of divine justice. That scroll has your name written in gold, outlined by tears heaven recorded and promises made before you were born. But for a long time now, it's been hidden behind a seal. Not by God. Not by you. But by a person who dared to interfere with your destiny. Someone who held a pen they were never authorized to touch. And they signed something, in secret, that delayed your inheritance, paused your rise, and shut a door you didn't even know was meant to open for you. But here is the truth that was buried beneath time: you were meant to have more than what you've been living with. Your life was supposed to feel different. The ease. The flow. The opportunity. The confirmation. You were designed for divine access. But somewhere in the spirit, a false document was written, by someone close, by someone bitter, by someone who envied your favor. And now, the high-profile attorney assigned to you by heaven has traced it. They have found the spiritual contract written against your name. And they are holding it up now before the highest court of the Most High. The ink on that document may have dried long ago, but God is never late to review what was wrongly done in darkness. Your delays were not just coincidental. They were not because you lacked effort, prayer, or heart. They were strategic assignments meant to stall the movement of your promise. And this signature, this one stroke of rebellion done behind your back, is the reason certain things kept slipping through your hands. But not anymore. The attorney now stands in divine court, lifting their voice in your defense. With authority. With undeniable evidence. With the backing of angelic presence. And they speak one word that shakes the record open: void. That's what has just been written over every contract made without your permission. Void. Cancelled. Broken. Overturned. Because you, beloved, never gave them consent to interfere. You never signed that deal. You never agreed to have your legacy traded for their comfort. Now comes the restoration. The supernatural reversal. The divine refund of time, energy, opportunities, relationships, and resources. The doors that refuse to open because of that one cursed agreement, they are now being commanded to unlock themselves in your favor. That attorney isn't just ending what was done behind your back. They are rewriting the record in your name. And they are restoring what was delayed, with interest from heaven. There's a sound echoing through the unseen realm. It's the sound of chains falling from scrolls, of hidden hands being revealed, of names that once worked against you being erased from your path, and of you being called forward again. Because now that the false signature is exposed, the real one, yours, is being lifted to the throne. God is writing you back into the timeline you were always meant to live. And this attorney, they are not stopping until you step into every room that was once shut. Until you wear every crown that was denied. Until you taste the sweetness of every harvest that was stolen. The exposure has begun. The person who thought their signature could replace God's will for your life is now trembling. Because this is no longer about vengeance. This is about divine correction. And heaven is very clear, no one can cancel what I have approved. No one can sit in a throne that I designed for my child. You are being called now. Not by name alone, but by purpose. This is your moment. The script is being rewritten. And this time, you are not watching from the sidelines. You are walking straight into the courtroom, with heaven's finest attorney by your side, and the ruling already decided in your favor. There are doors that no human hand could ever open, not because of locks made of metal, but because of seals placed by time, pain, and unresolved promises. These doors exist between heaven and earth, memory and spirit, loss and calling. And today, one such door, the one that held your release, has just been opened. But not by force. Not by pleading. Not even by the sound of your prayer. This time, it was opened by a soul who left this earth with your name still trembling on their lips. Someone who once held your face in their hands. Someone who once watched you sleep. Someone who once spoke about your future as if they had already seen it. That soul has never stopped watching. They have never stopped sending their whisper into the corridors of eternity. And just now, when heaven convened on your behalf, they stood. Not with anger. Not with sorrow. But with tears that had ripened into sacred power. And they spoke. Softly. Boldly. Unshakably. This one is mine. I saw what they carried. I saw how the world tried to bury it. But I never gave up on them. Please, let them rise now. Their words moved something that had been still. Their voice cracked open a layer of resistance in the realm. And in that moment, the high-profile attorney assigned to your soul turned toward the throne and said, "We are not alone in this request. For what you didn't know was this: you are being defended by both heaven and memory. by divine law and ancestral love, by the voice of angels, and by the heart of one who never stopped praying for you, even after breath left their body. This is not fantasy. This is not metaphor. This is divine courtroom reality. And the case being argued on your behalf just gained a force too powerful to be denied. Because when the departed intercede, not with bitterness, but with holy remembrance, God listens. And in this exact hour, the evidence brought forward is undeniable. The proof that your heart stayed pure. The proof that you forgave when you could have fought. The proof that you stayed when others fled. That proof is now being read aloud, line by line, before every spiritual witness. And the response? Heaven weeps. The court breaks silence. A ruling is passed, let this one rise. Their time is now. Suddenly, you feel it. A warmth you cannot name. A comfort on your left side. A breath that feels like someone you once knew standing so close, even though you cannot see them. That's them. That's the one who opened the way. And they are walking with you now. They're not here to relive pain. They're here to walk you into the version of your life that you were always meant to experience. One where you don't keep losing what's meant for you. One where love stays. Where money multiplies. Where peace does not expire at nightfall. Where home feels like sanctuary, not survival. That high-profile attorney? They are now carrying the final judgment to the next phase. The enforcement of what was approved. Because exposure is not enough. Heaven does not just reveal truth. Heaven enforces it. And what was decided for you in this hour is now moving through realms, crossing through dimensions of resistance, passing through layers of warfare, and arriving at the exact coordinates of your life. This is the moment where everything that was delayed begins to align. You'll notice people start speaking to you differently. Opportunities that were cold will warm again. Places that once rejected you will start calling your name in rooms you've never entered. Not because of coincidence, but because of intercession. The voice of the one who passed, but never let go, is echoing around your name. And it's waking up every dormant promise. So if your chest feels heavy for no reason, if tears start coming and you don't understand why, if you suddenly feel someone in the room but can't explain it, just whisper, I know you're here. I'm listening. Because they are. And they've waited for this moment longer than you realize. There are moments in life when something ancient touches the present, when something sealed long ago becomes unsealed, not by force but by favor. And today, in the unseen courtrooms of the divine, that moment just happened for you. A golden file, aged by time but untouched by decay, was opened. It had your name engraved, not written. And that matters. Because engraved names do not fade. They survive every storm, every betrayal, every disappointment. And this file, hidden beneath layers of delay and opposition, has finally been pulled into the light. Not because you begged, not because you fought, but because heaven could no longer delay what your soul has earned through silent endurance. This attorney, this high-profile spiritual advocate chosen by heaven, has been watching in silence, studying every detail, taking note of every time you were overlooked, every time you were laughed at, every time you stayed kind when cruelty would have been easier. They took record of your restraint, of the way you never exposed someone who deserved to be exposed, of the way you helped others financially even when your own cup was nearly empty. And today, in front of divine counsel, they said the words that shook the atmosphere: "It's time." Not because they asked, but because they've already paid in spirit. You see, the golden file doesn't just contain what is owed to you. It contains what was stolen, hidden, delayed, or buried. It holds timelines that were interrupted by the jealousy of others, friendships that were poisoned by lies whispered in secret, promotions that were blocked not by lack of talent, but by the shadows of envy, and even love stories that were rewritten by forces that didn't want to see you flourish in joy. But today, yes, today, that golden file was finally unsealed. And everything inside it is about to become manifested proof in your real, physical life. This isn't just symbolic. This is administrative. It is spiritual protocol being activated on your behalf. And it is being done in such divine timing that not even the enemy who tried to block it can intercept it now. The court is now enforcing a full restoration. That means the love you lost is not the end of your story. That means the finances that have been up and down will stabilize. That means the home you've been longing for has already been assigned coordinates in your future. And that means the people who left you because they didn't believe in your worth will watch you be celebrated in rooms they'll never be invited into again. But there's more. Because as this golden file was opened, your name wasn't the only thing written inside it. There was also a promise. A covenant. One that your ancestors made in prayer. One that your spirit agreed to before you were born. One that said, this child will carry restoration not just for themselves, but for the whole bloodline. That's why your journey has felt heavier. That's why you've carried emotions you couldn't explain. Because you weren't just fighting for yourself. You were carrying the unshed tears of those who came before you. And now, because you didn't give up, that promise is being fulfilled. The attorney smiled when the final signature was stamped in light. Because they knew. They knew what had been done to you. But they also knew what was coming to you. And now that the case has been settled in the spirit, it cannot be undone in the physical. It's only a matter of time before the evidence arrives in your hands, in the form of breakthrough, reconciliation, financial favor, unexpected reunion, and the peace you thought you'd never feel again. So if you feel a strange quiet come over you tonight, if you feel the urge to cry for no reason, if you hear your name in your spirit when no one is around, don't ignore it. That's not fear. That's not confusion. That's your soul realizing, the case is closed. The promise is active. The release has begun. It has already begun. Quietly. Elegantly. Without thunder or grand announcement. Heaven doesn't always make noise when it moves. Sometimes, the greatest divine breakthroughs come wrapped in ordinary days, through unexpected faces, and in conversations you almost overlook. But if you're sensitive in this hour, if your soul can lean just a little closer, you'll begin to feel it. The shift. The message. The movement. It's not in the mail, it's in the moment. And the one who was appointed to carry this breakthrough toward you has already been activated by heaven's instruction. You might think they're just checking on you. You might think it's a random call, or a coincidence, that you bumped into someone you hadn't seen in years. But nothing about this hour is random. You were not forgotten. The attorney who took your case, who stood before God with every silent pain you never spoke out loud, has now passed your name to a divine courier. This courier doesn't wear wings. They wear humanity. They may be a stranger, a former lover, a friend you thought was gone, or someone you've yet to meet. But in their spirit, they've already been told, deliver this blessing. Return this favor. Restore what was withheld.